This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
What's going on, Rally? Feels like forever, man. How you been?
Man, Ted, it's finally here, bro. And you know I'm doing great. Let's get it.
It is, man. It is finally here. I know it's just been 2 weeks, and I know we took some time off for the bye week to kind of recuperate, just like the team did. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about that, man. Last we heard, you were going hunting. How'd that happen for you? How did everything go?
Well, I saw plenty of doe, and the only bucks that I saw were on the trail cam. So needless to say, I did not come away with a winner. I didn't want to kill any doe. I mean, even though it would have provided meat, it would have provided meat in the freezer. I didn't want any dough. I mean, but it was relaxing as it was, so I enjoyed myself, if you can say that.
So while you were sitting up there, did you get a chance to like stream any of the games on your cell phone or catch any of the World Cup while you're hanging out up there, just kind of sitting in the quiet? Or
Nah, man, I was just chilling in the bush, man. Didn't need any of that stuff. I waited till I got out of the stand to watch football.
There you go, man. Yeah, I always wonder because you're just sitting there and you're just kind of sitting up high and you're overlooking the territory. You're just waiting for something to come across your sights, but that's a lot of waiting. It's like, I don't do fishing. I don't do hunting because if I'm sitting there that long and not doing anything, I want to smoke a cigar. And that smell is obviously going to distract anything and keep it away from you.
That's a no-no.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be bored out of my mind. It's like, my mind can't sit still for that long period of time without going stir crazy. So hats off to you for doing that, man. Just kind of keeping center right there.
You got to be able to unplug, man. You got to be able to do that. And here's the thing. So you're looking at your phone at a game or something, and all of a sudden that 12-point buck darts across the doggone bush. You're not going to be ready because you were looking at your phone.
That's a good point. Maybe have like some ear pods in or something instead of actually looking down. And because it's like, I've been watching all the World Cup games and some of them have been unbelievably boring. But the second the announcer starts to get excited, I poke my head up from my work laptop. It's like, all right, here we go. Oh, no, nothing happened. But, just for a couple of seconds, you just, peek your eye out.
The good thing about that is they do have shooters, headphones, ear protection. So Bluetooth enabled hearing protection.
Okay.
So you could listen to the game, like you said, while keeping your ears covered, just in case if you needed to take that shot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've gone skeet shooting. I've got a couple of firearms of my own, but I've never actually gone hunting. So maybe one of these days when I'm actually ready to fully unplug, I'll get out there.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, well, it sounded like a nice, relaxing bye week. Me, I was just kind of recovering from the surgery and hanging out back here at the house. We actually adopted a kitten. So the whole relaxing thing went out the window because that guy is a little ball of chaos. Yeah. And is just kind of running around the house. And we had to keep him trapped in our room because we had to make sure that he didn't have anything to give to our dog. Luckily, all signs came back. He was fine. And then we were able to interact with those two and kind of hang out. So it's thinking about getting rid of cable since I can just kind of watch those two go at it and have a good time and it'll save me some money, maybe for some, hopefully, fingers crossed, Fred Smoot autograph signing memorabilia that our boys at Woodbridge Collectibles are doing coming up.
That's right. That is coming up.
Yeah, man. It's all going to be right now on January 7th. So that is assuming that the Cowboys game is on January 8th. Our boys are going to be at Guy Fieri's DC Kitchen and Bar downtown, Capital One Arena. We recorded from there, did a show from there. I was there last night for Jingle Ball, hanging out, having a good time. Kevin says, "What's up," by the way.
Cool. What's up, brother?
But Fred's going to be out there signing a bunch of stuff. He's going to have jerseys out there for $70. They've just got a bunch of different things you can get, some pictures, some memorabilia, just different things. So to me, kind of a fun thing to do with your friends and family after the holidays, or if you're looking for something for the holidays for your friends, family, that Washington fan, maybe not so much that Commanders fan, but that Washington fan that wants some older Redskins memorabilia, check out our sponsors, Woodbridge Collectibles. They got a ton of stuff at their website. And if you use promo code DMV Mess Hall, you're going to get 15% off. So it's actually a pretty damn good deal, especially right now for the holidays.
Well, man, with gas prices going down 15%, come on, you got to be able to get it while you can get it, because who knows when things are going to go back up to regular price, bro. Now, here's the thing. What are the times that they're going to be at the Guy Fieri's?
1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And knowing them, they'll probably hang out after. And I know you're thinking about doing a rally there that night. So I was telling them to try and talk Fred into hanging out for that if the Cowboys game doesn't get moved to the 7th.
And, you know, something else that I'll try to do to entice people, if you will, maybe I might try to get a film crew out there. Maybe Channel 4, Channel 7 or 9. We'll see.
That'll be good, man. I'm going to be salty because I'm going to be getting ready for the game, but it sounds like it'll be a good time.
There you go. You don't want to help a brother out? Come on, man. Stop by.
I'm going to see what I can do. It just depends on how much I got to get ready for the game. Cowboys game, biggest game of the year. I know I'm already be making brisket. It's going to take me about 48 hours to do. So it just depends on how much stuff I can get done ahead of time. And luckily, you know, I've had some time to relax and restock the tailgate van for this Giants game, considering we have the bye week going on. But jumping into football again, man, it's been so long. The NFL owners are actually meeting in Dallas. So this is one of the regularly scheduled owners meetings. And it's funny because some of the beat reporters actually overheard the owners talking, saying that they think 2/3 of the media down there are from Washington, D.C., because everyone's been waiting. While we were gone, the congressional report came out. You and I were texting about it. I'm sure a majority of our listeners know what happened or what came out of the report. From my mind, nothing new came out of that report other than the admission, if you will, that the team is the one that leaked the emails between Bruce Allen and John Gruden, which is, you know, it's embarrassing to hear that happened, but no new damning news came out. There was no smoking gun. There's nothing to implicate a forcible sale of the team. And Brian McCarthy, who is the NFL representative, actually came out before the owners' meetings and said there will be no update on the Mary Jo White investigation during this session of owners' meetings. So those fans out there that were holding out hope that we would hear something, it's not going to happen right now. And Dan actually was not taking part in the meetings. It was just Tanya and Jason who were representing the Commanders, because a lot of fans were wondering, was Dan actually going to be in attendance? Because it seemed like his self-imposed suspension is kind of over, because he's there, but he's not there. But regardless, you know, it's business as usual in regards to the Commanders with Tanya and Jason.
The thing is, as you said, there's no smoking gun. There's no new revelations. I mean, so basically, what are you going to talk about? What's, for once, overshadowing everything is this winning Commanders record. For once. Can you believe that?
It's meaningful football in December. It's what I've been asking for a very long time. And I remember talking to, we all have for a very long time. It's like, I'm sick and tired of going to December games, and the guy beside me paid $20 for his ticket because we're out of it. We're not doing well, and fans are just dropping their seats. And I historically get, 40, 50, 60 tickets for Warrior Wishes. It's a group I support that are wounded veterans and Gold Star families. Because if you're a Commanders fan, back then a Redskins fan that didn't want to go, instead of selling your ticket for $20 that you paid $200 for, donate it to them and get tax credit. So all the veterans were happy and the nonprofit was happy, but because we're doing well, I can't get tickets donated. But guess who stepped up and reached out, man?
Who's that?
Our Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee, Charles Leno.
Charles Leno.
Charles reached out. They said they've got some tickets to donate. So, because I kept hitting up John Allen, because John was giving away those 100 seats and this and that, but he never hit me back. So it's all right. Not hating. No, it's fine. But Charles stepped up and he's donating some tickets to Operation Warrior Wishes. And the charity is unbelievably happy, because he had a bunch of vets that were asking, because they kind of count on going every year, just because I've been helping them out for over a decade now. And they were bummed because now they get to see a good team versus the bad teams in the past. So I'm excited about that. And man, we didn't play a single game. And we went from the 8th seed to now the 6th seed. So did you actually catch any of the games? Did you watch that Giants and Phillies beatdown?
No.
Well, you didn't miss much depending on what was going on, but it was a 48-22 ass whooping. They sacked Daniel Jones 7 times. I mean, it was a sight to see. Just also frustrating knowing that the week before we had them and we couldn't do the same thing. But because of that, the Giants were 7-5-1. We're 7-5-1. They haven't won a single game in the division. We beat the Eagles, our only division win. So we jumped up to the 6th seed. The Giants moved down to the 7th seed because the Carolina Panthers won their first road game in over a year in Seattle. And the Bucs were playing the 49ers. They took that game off TV because Tom Brady was getting his ass beat by Mr. Irrelevant, and they put the Panthers-Seahawks game on and thinking, you got to be kidding, the Panthers are actually going to win this thing? So that moves the Seahawks down to 7-6. So the Seahawks are on the outside looking in. They're in the 8th seed right now, which helps us out big time. Yeah, and now we got a 74% chance of making these playoffs.
74%. Wow.
Brother, all while the guys were sitting on the couch, man.
I'm ready for it. That's right. I posted a meme about it. I posted the guy sleeping. I put a commander's hat on a guy. I forgot the name of that show. The guy's sleeping and there's a hat. And we
was it the one with the office with the old guy sleeping?
The office.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I remember seeing that, man. Yeah, that was hilarious, dude. And it's just, you know, numbers aside, we control our own destiny. And that's what's most important right now. If we have a better record than the Giants to finish the season, we're in because we have the tiebreaker over the Giants at that point. So that's really all that matters. Now, granted, there are a couple of games that we want other teams to lose. It'd be nice. You know, the 49ers are going to play the Seahawks at that point. It'd be nice if the Niners could beat them down. And I was actually, I don't want to say excited when Jimmy G went down, but seeing what Purdy did to the Bucs and what that team is doing without an actual established quarterback worries me about making that trip out to San Fran. But, you know, let's focus on the opponent ahead of us with the Giants this week. And I was kind of shocked because brother, we had a bunch of injuries going into the bye week. Well, this was Coach Rivera's update on all those injuries yesterday. And for those wondering, it's Wednesday, December 14th at 4:19 that Riley and I are recording this.
Let's start with some of the health updates, and if you can give a little update on just where Benjamin St. Juste is at right now, what your plans might be for him this week.
Well, we'll see how he progresses. He had a good day of treatment and work today, so that was a huge plus from what I was told. We'll see how it goes, but he is progressing in the right direction as of today. As far as Montez Sweat and James Smith-Williams are concerned, they're still in the protocol. They've progressed to where they're going through the steps and they're progressing near the end of it. As long as things continue to trend in the right direction, we should have them back out on the practice field hopefully by tomorrow or Thursday. Cosme had an ankle sprain. He'll continue to get his treatment. We'll see how he is a little later today when we do our walkthrough, and we'll see how he handles that tomorrow morning. Jamin had a procedure on his thumb, and he should be fine. I know he's got an exam tomorrow just to make sure everything went well with the procedure. And then Antonio will continue with the treatment with the foot issue. We'll monitor it. Trey, this was good timing for a bye for him. He got a lot of rest and treatment on his leg, so he should be fine. We should see him out on the walkthrough today, and we'll see how he is tomorrow morning. And the Chase has continued to progress. He did a lot of work these last few days and has had some really good days and seems to be pretty confident. We'll see how he progresses, but he is trending in the right direction.
Trending in the right direction. He's been trending in the right direction for weeks now. And those that aren't in the DC area, they practiced outside today. Tomorrow, we're supposed to get basically a snowstorm, not snow, like an ice storm and some sleet and freezing rain. So that means he's going to go in the bubble. The team's going to go in the bubble, and they're not going to do much inside there. So who knows? At this point, man, I think I'd have better luck predicting Powerball numbers than if this guy is going to play on Sunday. And
hey, man, I've told you, Ted, don't put your money on it, brother.
Oh, I'm not putting any money on it. I'm not holding my breath. The part that concerns me, though, is that was a lot of guys that were banged up. So that was the report on Tuesday. So coach gave the guys off on Monday. So some guys that were out of town could use Monday as a travel day to get back. So they had to report back to the facility on Tuesday. Good news is a bunch of the vets and a bunch of the guys actually came in to the facility on Thursday and Friday last week just to get a workout in. It's not mandatory. They actually have the entire time off. But guys on their own volition came in to be around the guys, to be at the facility. And the team closed the park down on Saturday and Sunday to force people to get away. So
I love hearing that, man.
Yeah,
I did.
I mean, it was awesome to hear because, you know, guys are like, you've got a routine. You don't want to do anything to kind of mess that routine up. And I'm not saying it's superstitious, but it's just kind of what you're used to, especially from a treatment perspective. But I was kind of bummed to hear that Antonio Gibson had a problem. So as of today, Antonio Gibson was out there. He was limited with a foot. Dax Milne, who's been out for the past couple of weeks with Alex Erickson filling in, was limited with a foot today. Andrew Norwell, limited with a shoulder. Brian Robinson Jr., limited with a quad. Cam Sims, limited with a back. James Smith-Williams, concussion protocol, he was limited. Benjamin St. Juice, ankle, limited. Montez Sweat, concussion, limited. Trey Turner, knee, limited. Chase Young, knee, limited. Sam Cosme, ankle, full participant. Jamin Damas, thumb, full participant. So all those guys that Rivera talked about on Tuesday, no one was a DNP, which is huge. Means everybody was at least out on the field doing something, if not everything. But for you, go ahead.
I thought Dax was more of a concussion or something, not a foot.
No, I guess Dax Milne was a foot, apparently.
Oh,
who knows?
okay.
He might have had something prior to that. And
okay.
But yeah, he's a foot problem at that point. And to me, Dax Milne, Alex Erickson, only difference is a number on their jersey. I'm not seeing, 6 and 1, half dozen in the other in regards to those two guys. So
I didn't. Maybe I zoned out for a second, but did you say Sweat?
Montez is still in concussion protocol. So coach said that they should be out there today from his press conference yesterday. He was out there, but he hasn't cleared concussion protocol yet. So who knows what's going to happen. So if Montez isn't there, and on top of that, one of his depth backup guys, James Smith-Williams, also is in concussion protocol, then we're going to be very, very thin at defensive end. And especially with Chase's knee progressing, but not exactly sure how much, who knows what's going to happen at the end. And anyway, he's going to be on a pitch count. But for you, which commander out of those do we have to have on Sunday that we cannot afford to be without this Sunday, if given the chance?
I'm going to say Jamin Davis.
So good news is Jamin was a full participant, and it was just a thumb, and he had a thumb procedure. So I hear you there. I mean, Jamin's been key during this defensive turnaround, especially with Cole Holcomb going on IR. I mean, John Bostic is good, but John Bostic is also old and slow, and David Mayo doesn't scare anybody. But for me, it's Benjamin St. Juice. We saw how Christian Holmes played last time around, and then he got benched for Danny Johnson. We need BSJ back out there in that secondary. We need some help because we saw what Daniel did and torched us a couple of times, and we need that secondary help. And BSJ, I know it's an ankle. He's been gone for a couple of weeks. I'm hoping it's better. It's going to be key to see what happens this Thursday.
If his wheel is good, I say run him. But if it's not, you know my whole take, man. And we got into it last episode where you said you take a 80% or 85 or 90% chase versus nothing. And I said, nah. So if he's 100 full go, I'll take BSJ. But if not, I don't want to hurt him because even if we, and I hate to say this, even if we took an L this week, we still would be in it. And I would rather have him where we really need him than, I mean, this is a game that we really need him, but if he's not 100%, I still say sit him for a second so that he can get ready for the Friscos, the Browns, the Cowboys, and then possibly that first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, it depends on how hampered he is. I remember a game where Quentin Dunbar came back, and I want to say it was against Dallas. I could be wrong against the opponent, but Dunbar came back, and we were all hoping for him to be out there, and he was just slow. He just couldn't do anything, and you could tell he just wasn't there. And an ankle, I mean, you're either good on your ankle or you're not good on your ankle.
Yeah.
So, it's a different story. Like your shoulder, okay, you can fight through that. You can take a Toradol shot or something to fight through that. But your ankle, especially as a DB, that's not going to work. We don't have a lot of depth. Christian Holmes is not the best out there. We saw what Wild Goose did and haven't really seen him since then. And you just hope that your coverage can match your defensive pressure. And, Duran is leading defensive tackles and sacks. He's leading our team in sacks right now. But we need that pressure across the entire line if we're actually going to get to Daniel Jones. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys, I guess, go throughout the rest of the week. We're recording on Wednesday. Those Commanders fans, Washington fans that are listening, pay attention to the injury report leading up to that game. Because the good news is it's Sunday night, gives them a little bit more rest time to see what happens. But fingers crossed we get these guys back. The one thing that was interesting, though, is the team did activate Carson, and he is now on the 53-man roster. This is what Coach said about Carson.
Thank you, Coach.
Hey, Ron, just a quick question. We didn't ask you about Carson since you guys just obviously activated him.
Yeah.
What's his status and how has he looked?
He's looked good. He's had a couple of good weeks of work. The first week he was on the side. The second week he was integrated into some of the offense, some of the defensive stuff. He threw with the receivers, and then last week he was off, and so we chose not to make the move last week, and then we made the move yesterday to activate him. And think everything should go accordingly. He will be the primary backup going into this game, and we'll go from there.
So Carson's going to be the backup, and the sports junkies were making a big deal out of the fact, I think it was maybe today on their show, when Rivera said, "And we'll go from there," at the end of his statement about Carson. Basically meaning that, okay, well, he's the backup right now, but we'll see what happens from there. And a lot of people were calling in saying this is just an insult. If you're Heineke, he won't stand behind him. Rivera's just waiting to pull Heineke off and then put Carson back in. It's a bunch of BS. And, you got all these fans going crazy. And I don't disagree with either argument. You can't sit Taylor because he really isn't losing. I mean, we lost that Vikings game, but that was it. But he's also not really winning the game for us. But you and I talked. Yeah. I mean, numbers wise and this and that, I mean, he's not putting them up. And he's got a lot of turnover worthy throws. And I think he's last in Pro Football Focus quarterback rankings and grades. You and I talked last show. Is he not running because they're asking him not to? And I'm curious now, are we going to see a Taylor that is going to run more or more design run calls for him now that Carson is available to come in, knowing that you're not relying on Sam Howell to get you out of a jam if Heineke gets banged up or knocked out on a run, because you can actually go back and rely on Carson to go in there. What are your thoughts?
I think that safety blanket is there. So now they can call different types of plays. So with Carson being the backup, does that mean that he's running scout team or it's Howell running scout team?
I believe it's Howell that's running scout team, because you want your backup quarterback to be there for install with the offense. So he's just going to be off to the side, holding his headset and making sure he's getting the calls and understanding what Scott Turner wants on this design play. From that point, typically it's your third string that's running scout team.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping. Let me say this, Ted. There's a part of me that hopes that they both play. And I say that because, and I know the saying, if you got two quarterbacks, you've got none. But there's a part of me that kind of likes or liked how the New Orleans Saints, they had, was it Taysom, and then they had Jameson on certain
Taysom
plays.
Hill.
Yeah, you had on certain plays, Jason would come in, or Jameson would come in. The other plays, the other Taysom, I can't pronounce the guy's name. Nevertheless,
Taysom Hill.
yeah. Nevertheless, they make it work sometimes, and if it means that could bring a spark to us, by all means, I'm for it, bro. At this point, we control our destiny, and we've got to do things that we aren't accustomed to doing, besides the norm. I mean, I don't want us to get too far away from our game plan, but it would be nice to, I don't know, man, maybe have Carson on a 3-step drop and unload a 60-yard pass. It just would be.
It would be.
And so just to keep them off balance. I mean, and it's not taking anything away from Taylor, but just mix it up a little bit. And I think that we could be victorious if we mix it up instead of just being the same old, if you will.
And speaking of mixing it up, I mean, Chris Cooley joins Kevin Sheehan on his podcast. And I highly recommend our listeners to go check out Kevin's podcast. When you're done listening to ours, obviously, we're first. But Cooley, was breaking down film. He does it every week. And he was noticing that the Commanders are max protecting 70% of the time. So they're keeping in tight ends and running backs to block. And we're only having 2 or 3 guys go out on routes. So there aren't a lot of options for Taylor to hit anybody out there. And defenses are sitting back in those zones and waiting. So we're not giving a chance to really unleash the playbook, because at one point you're damned if you do, because our offensive line has holes right now. So Tyler Larson went down last we talked. He just got put on IR. Nick Martin was the backup who came in. We all know how bad that went. So Wes Schweitzer is now actually going to be starting at center.
Mm-hmm.
So that's at least some good news, is that it's Schweitzer over Nick Martin. But we're thin at guard right now, and Schweitzer is also our backup guard. So we really hope that Sam Cosme can tough it out and play, and no one goes down, because this offensive line has holes in it right now. I mean, they've definitely got some issues. And I understand why you want to max protect. But one thing that was so frustrating is our tight ends got their ass beat against the Giants.
They did.
Thibodeau and basically everybody on the defensive line, they were running around and they were chipping. And it was frustrating because Taylor just kept backing up and not actually stepping in the pocket. And next thing you know, the guy comes around the end. We had 2 tip balls, 2 strip fumbles at that point. And luckily they didn't get both of them. I think they only got the one, but it's just so frustrating. And that's the issue I have with putting Carson back there, because we know he's not the most mobile, but it's also the point of Taylor's been neutering himself. He hasn't been trying to use those legs to get out. And I feel that he hasn't had that pocket presence. And also now knowing and hearing that you only have 3 guys out on routes because you got everyone else blocking, then guys just aren't getting open.
They're being double covered.
Yeah, it's tough to run a offense like that in the NFL. I mean, Cooley's here saying that, quote, dude, that's a 1977 Don Coryell offense. It's hard to execute in the NFL right now. And we're really putting a lot on your quarterback to make big time throws down the field. It is a hard deal to get done in 3-man route combinations. And Heineke doesn't have the strongest arm for those routes down the field, those longer progressing routes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where, what do you do? And I know you want to see both of them. I hope to God we don't see both of them at least on one play, because I would not want to put Carson and Taylor in. I would rather have a Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson in at the same time with a Jahan, an actual skill player, not a 6'1" on a good day quarterback with a candy arm and then a statue.
So you telling me you would want to see Taylor get the hike, get the snap, and then throw a lateral to Carson, and Carson throws a bomb down the field. You wouldn't want to see that, man? Come on,
No.
man. Everybody wants to see that, man. Come on,
You know who I
razzle
wanna see
dazzle,
that?
Ted.
Do that to Logan Thomas, a former quarterback. All right.
Okay.
Do that. Give me a Taylor pitching it to Brian Robinson, and all of a sudden Brian Robinson lateraling it to Logan Thomas, and then Logan Thomas hitting Taylor down the sideline after that. Something like that maybe. But no, I don't want to see Taylor and Carson on the field at the same time unless it's warming up before halftime and they're all just stretching together. But
you went to the sand lot on them.
oh yeah, man. It's going to be interesting because I feel that we are going to see Carson before the season's over. And I don't think it's going to be because of I don't think it's going to be because of injury. I think it's going to be because of lack of performance. I think it's going to come down to towards the end of the season. Hopefully we get this game, but that Niners game is going to be a tough one on a short week, Sunday night, and then flying out and playing on a Saturday. And I think we might see Carson for the Browns game, or we might see Carson for that last game of the season. And
the get back game against Dallas.
Yeah. And I get a bunch of people that tell me and talk to me. My guy from the White House called me today because I'm trying to get a tour for the holidays. And he's telling me how those guys don't like playing for Carson. I'm like, I'm sorry. Everyone's saying that. It's a bunch of BS. These are professional athletes that have bonuses in their contracts, that are playing for their families. They're not playing for other players. It's a different offensive scheme that Scott Turner has been calling since Heineke's been at the helm. There's a lot more 2 tight end sets, a lot more 3 tight end sets. They dedicated to the run versus before we were doing nothing but passing. Our offensive line, even though we're banged up right now, is a healthier offensive line than what Carson had in weeks 1 through 4. So it's not that they didn't want to play for Carson. It's a different team physically on the field and a different game plan. And I would love to see what Carson can do with this game plan, all things being equal. But who knows? I mean, we'll see what happens this weekend. It'll be interesting.
This could be very interesting, Ted. And so obviously Carson was out, and now he's back. So do you keep the same run first option with Carson if by chance he is in, and allow him to be able to, once you decide, okay, I am going to pass, allow him to go down the field? Will he have the time to do that? Do you think that he's had enough practice to be able to do that? He's been sidelined for these weeks. I feel that being a quarterback is a perishable skill, man. And unless you're actually out there doing it, he's got some catching up to do, even though he is a longtime pro. What say you?
So they talk about mental reps, and he's definitely getting mental reps. He's got his head down in his playbook and his iPad or Microsoft service, wherever the hell they got a partnership with. But you cannot change the offensive identity of this team if you want to win. We can't go back to being a passing offense versus a running offense, partially because of your offensive linemen. Your offensive linemen are not good pass blockers, period. End of statement. They can run block their ass off, but they cannot pass block. And because of that, you cannot go back to what you tried to do earlier on in the season. I mean, he got sacked 9 times versus the Eagles. We got lucky that Taylor only got sacked 5 times against the Giants last time when he dropped back 41 times.
Can't do that.
No. Yeah. And I want to say, I mean, if Carson's dropping back 40 times, I'm more comfortable because to me, he can make those throws. If he is doing it, he has a better odds of making those throws and actually making those 41 dropbacks more bountiful, if you will, than Taylor does. But it's still a bad recipe for this Commanders team. I mean, if Brian Robinson doesn't have 20 plus carries and 100 yards, we're not going to be doing well in that game. Just plain and simple. If Taylor is throwing the ball more than 30 times, odds are we're down in that game. And
that's a recipe for disaster.
It is. And we all know what happened last time when we played them. And the offense went up 10-0. You're out there talking trash, breaking your golden rule in New York. And next thing you know, really, Daniel Jones took the game over. And I feel that the offense is going to get what they're going to get, right? That's not the concern. And, we talked about the Giants matchup. I think this is the first time since 1966 that the Washington team has faced the same opponent twice. I think it was the Steelers back in 66. And apparently Rivera did this in 2014 with the Panthers when he was there. He played the same team in 2 weeks in a row or back-to-back with a bye. But good news is the Giants had to play the Eagles, and they're banged up now. I mean, looking at their injury report, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that are DNPs today. Right. They've got 4 guys that were limited and 1 guy that's full on there. One of those guys is one of their offensive linemen, another offensive lineman, DNP with a neck injury. So the Giants are coming into this game banged up. I mean, the Eagles did what we wanted them to, man. They tenderized them a little bit for us.
Definitely. But one thing that no matter what either of us say, the fact is NFC East opponent. And
oh, yeah.
They may come in limping, but they're still going to fight even harder. It's like a caged animal that's in a corner, or not a caged animal, but an animal that's in the corner. He's going to fight even harder now. And their season basically is on the line as well. And they do get paid just like us. It would make them so happy to come down to FedEx and spoil what we have been building, even on our off day. So it's not going to be easy. I'm ready for it. And I know a lot of people who are coming are ready for it. I'm hoping that this break truly help the team and not hamper the team, so that we can continue to control our destiny, man, because we haven't been here in a while.
No.
And I want to keep this good feeling going.
We haven't been. I mean, it's the fact that we are talking about meaningful football in December. I was going back and forth with a couple of team execs on that. And it's like, first, let's get to the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Then let's win a playoff game, and hopefully you can build from there. But even before then, as a fan base, it's meaningful football games. And the media narrative this entire week is huge game, Sunday night football. What are you expecting from the fans? And Coach Rivera said it himself that I hope the fans are back. I hope that they're there and we have that playoff atmosphere and that playoff crowd, because, we're trying to do what, and I'm paraphrasing, but they're trying their best to make up for us as a fan base being let down all those years. And we typically don't have a good time in December. And it's typically not a fun month for us, but Rivera's teams come on towards the end of November and December. They do it every year. Mm-hmm. And apparently Washington is 5-2 in 7 primetime games under Ron Rivera. Mm-hmm. They've got a 714 winning percentage, which is actually the highest in the NFC during that span. So all those naysayers out there saying it's a primetime game, we're going to get our ass beat. Yeah, in the past with Jay Gruden and with other coaches, yeah. But Rivera in primetime games actually has his guys step up.
Yeah, we were jinxed under Jay Gruden in primetime. Oh, yeah. Don't even put us on a primetime game.
I'm just hoping that it's not you remember that Kirk Cousins Giants game? We got to beat the Giants. We're in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And Kirk choked.
Yeah.
He does what he does best, is he spotlights on him, and he just let us all down as a fan base. And we win this game, we're still not in. So let's be realistic. Yes. Okay. We got a 74% chance right now, but that can easily change any given Sunday. I mean, we were rolling last year and all of a sudden the team got hit with COVID, and next thing you know, season went down the drain. So I'm just trying to be cautiously optimistic, but also not going to lie, I'm looking at Southwest for flights out to San Francisco and flights out to Minnesota, because if that's where we're going, since Southwest does refunds, maybe I can just buy the tickets now. And then if we switch, I can cancel the flight and then get my credit for down the road for another flight. So fingers crossed, we'll see how it goes.
Well, getting back to fan participation, I think that we're going to have a good crowd, but not what we need. There's
Yeah.
still a lot of people who are just on the DS train, hate train, and I get it. I understand. I really do. And there's a part of me that thinks that because of that, there's still people who don't believe fat meat is greasy. And what I mean by that is there's still doubt with us in the Giants game. If by chance we win the Giants game, I see the stands being filled against the Browns in Dallas, definitely.
Browns is tough because it's New Year's Day.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't New Year's Day, I would agree with you, but I'm going to be short on New Year's Day with my crew to the point of I'm going to have to call in reinforcements and get the wife a heated like parka to get her to come out there and help me with the tailgate. But it's just, I agree with you that we're not going to have what we're hoping and what the team's hoping, because I'm looking at StubHub right now. You've got lower level tickets in section 135, $122 a ticket. You know, the fact that these are still available for that cheap means that the demand isn't there, because that 135, section 135 shouldn't be 122 a ticket. It should be 200 something a ticket if people are actually buying these things up.
That's corner end zone, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And I mean, looking at not even corner end zone, let's just say looking at section 142, 50-yard line. I mean, there's still seats there available, and jumping into the club level and going there, seeing what we got. If StubHub wanted to participate with me, I mean, good news is you can go straight to the team and get tickets from them without having to pay StubHub fees and things like that. So tickets are out there to be bought. I just don't think it's going to be as crazy, because I got a bunch of Commanders fans that were reaching out to me saying, hey, I got my tickets face value if anybody wants them, because the game got flexed. I got to work the next day and I can't go.
There you go. And that's the other thing I was going to say. I think that putting us on primetime helped us, obviously, but it hurt the fan base. It really did. So the TV ratings are going to be off the hook. But as far as fans being able to make it out to the game, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, I mean, there are 50-yard line.
Get up.
Oh, agreed. There are 50-yard line seats right now for $1.70 to go out there.
That's crazy.
You know, for a primetime game. And, you know, what concerns me about the Cowboy game is the same argument that I had face-to-face with the team. You're selling division tickets as single game tickets. We talked about this on an episode in the past. In the past, the team did division tickets as a 3-pack. You had to buy 2 other games you don't want if you want to get that division game. Well, this year they didn't do that. And the answer I got back from them is, we're in the business of making money. Okay, I get that. Can't fault you at that. But you got no one to blame but yourself when you have buses, thousands of Eagles fans coming down 95. And for that Cowboys game at the end of the year, when we're giving out who our mascot's going to be, and when we're retiring Sonny Jurgensen's number, and we're going to be in our all white jerseys, which is a bunch of BS. Don't get me started there. You're going to have a bunch of Cowboy fans that thinks DC stands for Dallas Cowboy, because that's where they're from, that bought up all those single game tickets. So even though it should be a home type atmosphere, we know those Bamas are in town and they live around the corner from us, and they might be at your rally that night. But the good news is, if the players play how they have been, they can keep their mouths shut and give them nothing to cheer about. And that's really all that matters.
That's what I'm hoping. Just like up in Philly, because they didn't have anything to cheer about, bro.
Oh, man. I'm still so jealous that you're up there for that, just to see that game. And there was a meme I saw out there, and it said 11-1, and it was a picture of Taylor Heineke pointing to the 1, saying, I did that. And that just made me laugh, man.
That's hilarious. Yeah. And no matter what, we are the team that has them with the 1 in that column. So, and I love it. I love it.
It reminds me of when the Patriots are going undefeated and then the Giants beat them. And, you know, just that 1 year where you thought that it was all in the cards for them. And it'd be crazy to get another rematch. And hey, if we do go back to the link for a playoff game up there, I'll be there with you, man. That
All right.
I'm not missing. I am going. I had the conversation with Mrs. Tailgate today. We're not doing Christmas presents this year because I'm saving money for playoff tickets. And I
Okay.
could be jinxing everything, but I told her, honey, Christmas comes every year. The playoffs come every decade. So, we'll get Christmas presents for each other next year and go from there.
And I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I got to say this. So everybody's been asking me, will there be a playoff package? Yes. The answer is yes. There will be a playoff package. All we got to do is just continue to stay tuned and root for our boys to make sure that they win. They win, you'll see the package, and it will include airfare, hotel game tickets, and possibly, depending on the amount of people, transportation from the hotel to the stadium. Keep your fingers
Nice.
crossed.
There you go. Fingers crossed, man. But we got to win this one first.
Yep.
And we asked our listeners out there, we got a couple of responses. Some of them were snarky. What do the Commanders have to do to actually walk out of FedEx Field with that win and not a tie or a loss this Sunday night? I don't know how many people texted in and said they got to score more points than the Giants. All of you guys, I'll see you at amateur night at the Improv. Let me know when you're there and I'll throw something at you. But a couple people chimed in, and one of them was Kevin from Rockville. Kevin, we appreciate you listening to the show, man. Thank you. He said if the Commanders can contain Daniel Jones rushing, they will win. Other than him rushing, I think the defense played really well last game. Offense was decent. Hope for relatively more of the same from them.
What do you have, like 90 yards?
Last game, DJ had 71 yards.
71.
He averaged 5.5. His longest was 21. But to me, it was when he got those yards. It was on third down and key downs to extend drives.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hit us over the top with that bomb to Slayton. And yeah, it was offensive pass interference, but you still can't put yourself in that situation. So that's why I want Benjamin St. Juice back, to make sure that we can shut down Darius Slayton and stop Isaiah Hodgins from, opening up the top on us, and we can stack that box, because we held Saquon to 63.
Mm-hmm.
It's Daniel Jones that decided to, take advantage of us. But during our show last time, and if those of you that watch the YouTube and those that don't know, we do this on YouTube, and I put up clips up there. There was a play where Daniel Jones took advantage of a overly aggressive defensive line. Our guys were not rushing 4 as 1 as they're taught. And
Right.
Daniel Jones took advantage of it. They've got to be disciplined this week. And this is actually what Ron Rivera said about the difference in this game.
And then when you look at the last game, playing the Giants again so quick, is there one thing you say, this has to, if this happens, then you guys can win that game? Like, what's one thing that you say this has to happen after watching that first game and going through it?
Well, I think, just from the things that we got from the game is, we have to do a better job at containing their quarterback. Daniel's done a nice job. He's an elusive runner. He's got a good arm, can make pretty much any of the throws. And, we've got to be able to counter him. We got to be good against the run. I think that helps us a lot. And then when they throw the ball, we got to make sure we're good in coverage.
So basically, Coach said, we got to stop their offense.
Mm-hmm.
We stop their offense, then we'll be good. I mean, for you, what are your keys to a Commanders win on Sunday night?
I need to see good special teams play. That's one thing. And I need to see. So it's weird that you asked me this question, but the fact of the matter is, Coach pretty much said it. Our defense has got to step it up, but we need just an overall better team play. And I know that encompasses everything, but I can't just say I need this person to do better. We truthfully need a total team revamp to beat these guys. So maybe that's not the answer you're looking for, but that's the answer that I got to give. The team as a whole needs to play better. They just do.
I agree with you, man. You can't just say we have to shut down Daniel Jones to win this game, because looking at the stats from the last game, time of possession, we had the ball for 41 minutes, right? If you have the ball for 41 minutes, you're talking, nearly 2/3 of the game. They had the ball for 28 at that point. It's just, you think you're going to win that game.
That should be a dub. Yeah.
mean, it's just different things. We had 7 penalties for 55 yards, 2 penalties on the tight ends that killed us in crucial times. There was that special teams penalty where we blocked the guy out of bounds. You know, just dumb mistakes. We have to play mistake-free football if we want to win this game. It's an NFC East game. People are sticking a fork in the Giants. I'm sorry, they're not done yet.
No.
The Giants are not done by any means. Daniel Jones is playing for a contract. People are forgetting that. The Giants did not exercise Daniel Jones' 5th-year option. So he's going to be a free agent. He's playing for a job somewhere else next year, or maybe with New York. So
yeah, he's the Eli Manning of the common now time of Eli Manning. That's what it sounds like.
And to me, it's just, we won time of possession. That's great. But we were 3 for 14 on 3rd down. And I keep harping it during our shows. Our 3rd down conversion rate has been atrocious. When we won that game against the Eagles, we kicked ass on 3rd down. We had time of possession and we drove the ball down the field. I mean, we were 1 for 2 in the red zone at that point. They were 2 for 3. We decided to kick a field goal, I think, when we were within the 5-yard line in the red zone against the Giants. Like, we can't settle for 3 points. We got to go for 6.
Yeah.
And if you have to put the onus on your defense with them pinned back in territory, then fine, do that. But I need Riverboat to live up to his name this week.
So he needs to gamble a little bit more, huh?
Yeah, he does, man. I think he needs to do that because you have to stay ahead of the Giants in this playoff push. You have no control over the Seahawks. We don't play the Seahawks. And that's who's fighting for that other seed, on top of the fact that the Lions are coming over top of everybody right now.
They really are, man. Yeah.
It's ridiculous what they're doing. And hey, hats off to them. Good for them. Don't give a damn. But we got to stay ahead of New York. And to me, you got to limit your penalties. You have to play disciplined defense, because what they've been doing to stop the zone read of Daniel Jones is not working. And they slowed down Jalen Hurts. They slowed down Justin Fields. Why we can't do it to Daniel, I don't know, other than they get happy that there's this white guy running at him that looks like he's slow as molasses, but yet he still burns them every time they can. But we got to play disciplined defense. You have to know your assignment. But to me, more importantly, on offense, if we can do what we're supposed to do on offense, I think we can win this game. If the offense can keep it going, and if Brian Robinson can carry that ball, I mean, just stole that stat, he carries 15 times, we're undefeated. We do have a tie, but we're undefeated. You know, just make them meaningful possessions, make them meaningful drives. And we got a chance to walk out of there this Sunday with a win, because I'm scared about next week. I'm scared about what's going to happen on Christmas Eve. But right now, I'm not going to lie. I told you I was at the sports book, right? I had to do an emotional hedge. So I'm hanging out at Joe Ball. I'm at a VIP party for the iHeart radio station I crashed. And the line was 4.5 that the Commanders are giving up. So I put down $10 on the Giants, hoping I lose my $10, because either way, I'll still be somewhat happy on Sunday night. But what's your prediction and score prediction for the game?
Well, we tied last time. So, and I think I did say something like 21-17 the last time, if I'm not mistaken. It was something in that same, it's going to be in that same ballpark, Ted. And I hate to say it. I mean, unless we just totally dominate, but I'm thinking 21-19, 21-17. And it's going to be a close game again, man. 20-17. Yeah. It's going to be right there. And I don't know if it's going to come down to the last quarter, or will it be decided and they play catch up or something? But I don't see us going above 40 points combined score.
Yeah, the over-under is 40.5. And I mean, Vegas was pretty much spot on. I think last week it was 41, or 2 weeks ago it was 41. And I put a bet down on the Giants because I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think the Giants are going to win, but I think the Giants getting 4.5 points is a better spread. And I think some sportsbook have it at 3 now. But to me, I think we're going to win, just like you said, by a couple of points. I think it's going to be kind of a 24-21 type game
Okay.
with the Commanders winning. That means a Giants cover. I'll win my bet and the Commanders win. And, I'll put that in my little kitty fund for your playoff trip. But for you, for us to get that dub, who is the Woodbridge Collectibles signature player of the week that has to show out?
Well, you asked me that a little while ago, and I said Jamin Davis, but that wasn't for the Woodbridge Collectibles player. I need my quarterback to show out. I need Taylor Heineke to go back to the Tampa Bay Taylor Heineke, if you know what I mean. And
I know what you mean.
And if that happens, hands down, we will win the game. Hands down.
And he put up 275 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks, 5 sacks, and he had a passer rating of 101.2. So if you just look at that, you'd say he did a good job last time around. But watching the actual game, that there was a lot left on that field. The overthrow to Logan Thomas, a couple of balls that were nearly picked on a deep out to Terry, a couple of others. So I hear you there. I agree with you that we need that to happen. For me, I need Logan Thomas to step up. I need him to be that safety blanket for Taylor. I need him to block better because he got beat multiple times. We're max protecting. Cooley called it out 70% of the time. Logan got beat a bunch and was on highlight reels for those Giants defensive linemen last time. We need Logan to hold those blocks a little bit more. And to me, if we can hold those blocks a little more, and Brian Mitchell was talking about it, and a couple of the other guys were talking about it, leak out. There's nothing wrong with max protecting, but max protect to the point of you're good, and then leak out and give Taylor that outlet. Because I feel he's looking for that home run ball way too much, and his arm can't do that. And we only have 3 receivers going out in those routes. So if we get Logan Thomas going out there and being that safety valve, and he has a good game, we got a chance. Because Logan's put up some decent games since he's been back. Against the Giants, he was 3 for 20. So I'm hoping he's my Woodbridge Collectibles signature player of the week. And we see him ball out and actually be that Logan that we all know and love, that we were ecstatic that they gave him that extra contract for.
My fingers are crossed, bro. And I'm going to be dressing warm.
I actually just ordered some Thermacare arthritis patches. You can stick those on your back. I love these things, man. So I bought 5 of those. You can put one on the top of your neck right here. And then I put one on the small of my back. And it actually keeps you really, really warm. And I ordered a kangaroo pouch that's heated to keep my hands in that thing. So that way I can, somewhat stay cool, because I don't like wearing jackets to winter games. We talked about it before. I want you to see my jersey. I want you on TV to know that there's burgundy and gold in the stands, because I'm sick and tired of them saying it's opposing teams' fans in the stands. No, you're going to see me rocking burgundy and gold. I don't got a big chain around my neck, but you'll see me huddled in there yelling and screaming, man.
Well, the difference this week also, Ted, since we say we're not going to be superstitious, no one else is going to be putting the chain on.
Thank you. Sorry, Darren. Sorry, Darren. But, we know what happened last time someone put that chain on, man.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. We're going back old school. So this game, the Commanders will get the dub, and only I will have it around my neck. So, but hey, like I say every week, I thank you guys for tuning in, listening, watching, subscribing, liking. We need all of that help from you guys. And on behalf of the DMV Mess Hall, you guys rep it hard. Well, don't rep it at all. Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain. We'll be out.